Hi everyone, I'm Nadine Flores and this is my presentation on the ethical considerations in print technology. Print technology, especially textbooks, has been one of the oldest and most widely used forms of technology in distance education and education in general. Despite its popularity, ethical issues are still arising from the widespread use of print technology. In this presentation, we'll focus on three major ethical issues: sustainability, accessibility, and the textbook monopoly. We'll also discuss how these three issues are interconnected and what it could mean for the future of print technology. First, let's talk about sustainability. The paper-making process has been widely criticized for its environmental impact. According to the Global Forest Resource Assessment, roughly 80,000 to 160,000 trees are cut down each day. We're already familiar with the effects of mass deforestation and its consequences. According to a 2012 study, the total carbon footprint of the publishing industry is at 12.4 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents for the 4.15 billion books produced in the US in 2006, or around 3 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent per book. Aside from turning trees into paper, this carbon footprint is also from other processes such as printing, packaging, transportation, and distribution. Another point against sustainability is that books have a limited shelf life of around 5 to 10 years, and that depends on the quality of the storage. Another point is that textbooks also depreciate in value. This is because the information published in textbooks need to be kept up to date for accuracy. Textbooks can be republished with a new edition as frequently as needed, creating waste as older books will be discarded. Now let's move on to accessibility. I'll give you a moment to read out all of these statistics on your own. And this is from the Education Data Initiative. From here, we can conclude that textbook prices rise exponentially each year, negatively impacting accessibility to these materials. Not all students can afford the inflated prices of textbooks and need to resort to alternatives. We'll get back to this point later. Other accessibility issues include limited distribution. Now, with limited distribution, specific textbooks will only be available in certain areas or countries, depending on the demand or the popularity of that specific book. Publishers might not want to spend additional fees needed to transport these textbooks internationally. Now, another issue in accessibility is that the low price edition alternatives of some textbooks are, of course, made of lower quality. Some publishers create a low price edition to reach a wider market like Asian countries. But of course, these low price editions are of a lower quality because they're trying to cut costs. These books use cheaper paper and will be printed out in black and white. One downside of this is that important information such as illustrations and diagrams that rely on color are rendered poorly because they weren't meant to be printed that way. Aside from books, other printed materials such as scientific journals are hard to find and lack international distribution. Even if you try to find a digital version online, a lot of academic journals and articles are locked behind a paywall. And now finally, let's move on to textbook monopoly. One of the most controversial issues surrounding textbook publication is the so-called textbook monopoly. Since there aren't a lot of publishers within the current textbook market, larger companies control the pricing of textbooks. According to a report by the Washington Post, three publishers control 80% of the US textbook market. Two of them are Cengage and McGraw-Hill, which you may be familiar with. And another article by Reuters reported that McGraw-Hill and Cengage attempted a merger that would have given them roughly 45% of the US college textbook sales. This merger got broken up by the Department of Justice, which filed antitrust lawsuits against the deal. Due to all of these issues surrounding textbook production, piracy became a universal solution. Forbes reports some alarming statistics. I'll give you a moment to read through it. More and more learners are choosing digital versions of textbooks over print because it feels like the only solution to all of these problems. One interesting point about piracy is that it created online repositories of books and academic journals. Among the most popular is the Z Library, which has been taken down recently by the FBI in its battle against piracy. Here's an excerpt from a report by the Washington Post. Until it was taken down, the shadow website had been using servers around the world to carry more than 11 million books and 84 million articles since 2009. Over the years, its servers had occasionally disappeared, but always came back. Anyone from across the world, barring India and France, which banned the website earlier this year, could access it. So I'll leave you with these two questions. Number one, what are your thoughts on the widespread piracy of educational materials? And number two, what alternate solutions can you propose to resolve all of these ethical issues? Again, I'm Nadine Flores, and thank you so much for listening.